Hello everyone, I'm Frank Fumi and welcome to the Emerging Franchise Brands Podcast. We are here in Las Vegas at the 2025 IFA Annual Convention. Super excited to interview franchise founders and industry pros. I've got Dick Ren here from Ivy Kids, the VP of Franchise Development. How are you?
I'm awesome, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for being on.
You're welcome.
All right, so tell us all about Ivy Kids. What do you guys do?
Yeah, Ivy Kids is, we're an early childhood education franchise. So we're in that sector where we're taking kids from 6 weeks up to pre-K. And those are our main classrooms. We have facilities that have about 210 to 230 students. And then kindergarten through fifth graders is going to be our after school program, before school program, and then 12 weeks of summer camp, as well as camps in fall, winter, and spring.
Awesome.
So but we're based more, we're education. We fall in that daycare category, but we are definitely more education based, and that's one of our differentiators.
Now, so cool. You guys are an emerging brand.
Yes, sir.
How many locations do you guys have now?
So currently open, we have 20 open locations, 5 of which are corporately owned and operated, and 15 franchise locations. And then we've got another 16 franchise locations that are currently under development in some phase of it.
Wow. How did this whole thing start?
Great question. So our CEO's mom and dad, they basically started this company back in 2003. They reverse engineered it based upon their experiences of trying to find high quality childcare for their own children, and then decided that they were going to put together a concept of what they felt was best, children first, safety, education. And then they opened their first center, and it's evolved over the last 20 years. We're celebrating our 20th year this year.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
All right, so your role in FranDev, you have such a challenging role to make sure that you find the right franchise owners that fit the culture. How do you use your 30 years experience in franchising to kind of navigate that to making sure they're the right fit for the brand?
That's a really, really good question, because one of the things that I think Ivy Kids does a little bit differently is we're all about awarding franchises, and it's all about bringing on the right candidate into our system. And so through the discovery process, I call it basically Educate Discovery Award. That's what the process that I take. And you said I've been doing this for a pretty long time, but
it's an art, right? It's a little bit science, but it's a bit of an art as well.
It is actually. There's a good process that I've put together with our CEO to take folks on the journey to decide if they're right for us, and then they're making that same decision if they want to join Ivy Kids. And so making sure that they are a cultural fit, that they're going to be good for our system, that we involved everybody on our executive team from that decision standpoint. So we want to make sure that our director of operations, who's going to be literally living with them and dealing with them, are they going to be right? Do we think that they're going to be a successful operator? Is the real estate team, are we going to be able to work with them to find the right real estate? And then our curriculum team, can they implement our curriculum? Because it is ours, it's proprietary, it's ours that is unique to our schools.
Awesome, that's great.
Yeah. So,
Great.
Yeah.
And this is your first IFA, though.
It is.
So how's it been so far? What's maybe something big that you got out of this, maybe you weren't expecting?
It is kind of interesting being in the industry for so long to not come to an IFA. I've gone to a lot of other conferences around franchising, but this has really been eye-opening. I think, I'm a little bit older, but I'm learning a lot, and I've always had that in my brain of I've got to learn something new every day to try to continue my growth pattern.
Absolutely, keeps us young,
so,
man.
well, it's true. And having twins that are 15 is another way to do it too. But,
well, sure, you can do that as well.
But yeah, I think that just the collaboration is really something that I think is really wonderful industry-wide. I've always sort of seen that ancillarily, but being here and seeing it and seeing how even I sat next to 2 competitors at 2 different round tables, like right next to them 2 times, and you know what, we're competitors, but we're here to learn and educate, and we each have our own differentiators. So
Right.
It's been a wonderful experience.
That's great. That is franchising at its best.
It is.
I love hearing those stories.
It really is.
Yeah. All right, so last question I have for you, Dick,
Yep.
and that is, James Clear did the keynote, the
Yes.
author of Atomic Habits.
Yep.
Did you have a big takeaway or something you want to implement when you get back home?
Oh, it was wonderful. I was sitting in the session and I went on Amazon and ordered the book. So that was immediate.
That's great.
And his whole theory of the 1% better every day, and really understanding how to implement that not only to my own professional life, but how can I pass that to others in the industry, so that there's this learning experience of, okay, I do have to get better every day, and we do have to provide a service to our franchisees. Right, like, so that we at a corporate level can get better, but how do we then help our franchisees get better every day? It's been really, really neat.
Well, franchising, I always say, to own a franchise, it is a lonely business.
I've been there. Yes,
right?
it is.
As I've been there as well, and I feel like that 1% of improving every day, if we can help our franchisees see that, it gives them hope.
Sure.
And I really think, if nothing else, we are in the business as franchisors to inspire and give hope to those franchise owners.
100%. It's that. It is lonely, right? Like, I remember when I opened my first franchise, I fortunately had partners that had one, so they were my support mechanism, but then they were doing their own thing, and then it was more like, okay, how do I do this? And then trying to go to the franchisor, which was merging, and they had nothing in place compared to the things I see today. But you learn to cope. You just realize that, if I don't do this, I'm going to fail, and I just never wanted to fail. I owed my dad money. He lent me money, so I was like, not letting him down.
That's motivating itself.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Well, Dick, thanks so much for being on the show. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you for tuning into the Emerging Franchise Brands podcast. For additional insights, guest applications, and to stay connected, visit us at efbpodcast.com. The Emerging Franchise Brands podcast is for entertainment purposes only, and the views expressed do not necessarily represent those of Emerging Franchise Brands, its host Frank Fumey, or Emerging Franchise Group LLC. Any discussed franchise or investment opportunity requires thorough investigation, obtaining proper disclosure documents, and expert consultation before making any investment decisions. The podcast and its host do not offer professional advice or endorsements, and they hold no responsibility for actions, representations, accuracy, or consequential damages related to the podcast content.